Welcome to Tree Stand Buddies Game On. I'm your host, Nate Klein. This week we're hunting turkeys with Robby, Gilbert, and Brady Gaines. Then it's back to Ohio for some mature whitetails with Nate Mitchell and Josh McLaren. Get ready, because Tree Stand Buddies Game On starts right now.
Tree Stand Buddies Game On is brought to you by the Tree Stand Buddy, the tree stand hanging system that's coming to a tree near you. Wild Dale's Booner Builder, build your invisible food plot today. Extreme Sighting Solutions, let Extreme Sights be the solution to your sighting problems. High Country Archery, celebrating 30 years of archery excellence. Invite Team Extreme Food Plots, make them thrive 365. Bush in a Bag, your personal ground concealment system. True Fire Releases and Broadheads. Products more archers trust. Kicks Industries, Get on Target. And Walnut Grove, makers of the Booger. Products have been provided by these fine sponsors.
What can I say about Brady Gaines? Brady came on the team last spring, and he is just die-hard hunter. Brady calls me up, says, Rob, I got a line on a Kentucky turkey hunt. Asked if I was interested in going.
We started out on a job site down in Kentucky, and I got to know a couple of the local guys down there, and ended up scoring about 300 acres to hunt on for turkey.
Anytime anybody says Kentucky and turkey hunt in the same sentence, I've got the gear packed and I'm on my way.
Next thing you know, got a great place in western Kentucky to hunt, thanks to Dusty, the landowner.
Every week, Brady's like, Rob, I'm seeing so many turkeys down here. And you know, somebody else's idea of turkey, a lot of turkeys might not be the same as mine. I drive 8.5 hours by myself. I leave southwestern Pennsylvania, little town of Aleppo. I leave it and drive all the way down to Kentucky by myself. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Brady, you better get me on some turkeys after we've driven this far.
Robby made his way to Kentucky. I got there kind of early, so we went out to Dusty's place and roosted the birds that night.
So Brady drives me up into this landowner's field, and the landowner says, treat it like it's your own. He says, if you guys can drive your trucks through, go ahead. So we're driving up there, just kind of getting the lay of the land the night before. We're going to try and roost a turkey. Starts pouring the rain down, so roosting's out. So we're basically doing a visual inventory. We're driving to this field. We saw 10 different gobblers before we ever made it to the end of the property.
I went back to the hotel, good night's sleep. About 5 that morning, we're at Dusty's place ready to hunt longbeards. We
get up on top of the hill, we start working our way out this ridge, and Brady wants to know, where do you think we should go? And I said, I'll tell you what, let's go where we seen those last 2 gobblers at. They were by themselves when we saw them. They were headed in this little hollow, and I thought that'd be a perfect place to start from. We'd be able to hear all over the place, but we still had a line on where we'd seen some birds go in at dark.
Did some locating. Of course, you got Robby, Gilbert calling, so I mean, not hard to find a bird there.
These turkeys start gobbling on their own. Perfect. We didn't have to out-hoot, didn't have to locate nothing. They were already gobbling. So I told Brady, I said, you know what, this is your first chance of being on film. You got the shot.
Look at Robby Gilbert's courtesy to pass this shot on to his buddy Brady. Now let's see if he can just bring it in close enough for a shot after the break.
Take year-round management to the next level. with Invite Extreme Wildlife Systems.
Invite Extreme Wildlife Systems has everything you need to attract more wildlife and grow bigger bucks.
Quality seed blends, liquid fertilizers, herbicide, highly nutritious minerals.
When you put your deer on the Invite system, you'll see the results.
Allows your property to hold more deer and better deer, as well as more wildlife in general. Use Invite's complete line and you won't regret it.
Make them thrive 365.
Wild Dale's Booner Builder is a new one-of-a-kind product that will help you keep and route deer where you want them. With as little as 2 applications, you can turn native wood browse into a more healthy and nutritious food source that deer crave. Not a sweet treat, mineral fertilizer, or attractant, Booner Builder works within the plant itself to increase sugar production and total health of the plant, thus making it more desirable to wildlife. Now, for the first time, you can create browsing routes that lead directly to your stand without anyone else knowing about the honey hole you've secretly created. Bring that nocturnal buck you've been after right to your stand during daylight hours with Wild Dale's Booner Builder.
This is the Tree Stand Buddy, the easiest, safest way ever to hang your stand. With the receiver on the tree and the bracket on the stand, simply slide your stand into place. Attach the tree stand strap. You never carry your stand up the tree. Tree Stand Buddy works on virtually any hang-on stand. I put a receiver in every tree I hunt and take my stand with me. It's that easy. Learn more at treestandbuddy.com.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Game On Game Calls and the Green Thunder.
These turkeys start gobbling on their own. Perfect. We didn't have to out-hoot, didn't have to locate nothing. They were already gobbling. So I told Brady, I said, you know what, this is your first chance of being on film. You got the shot. So I went out, set a decoy up, back in the cypress tree, and do what I do best, and that's call turkeys.
They're talking to us the whole time pretty much. And next thing you know, we call, we get set up, gobble on the ground. I mean, quick, on the ground.
I start calling a little bit. This turkey cuts me off. I hear wing beats. He's on the ground. I told Brady, I look right over, I said, get ready, here he comes.
Strutted right in. I mean, we seen it coming. Strutted the whole time, came through a little low gap between some trees, came up, right there.
It's time to check in with Jesse and Rich for this week's In the Scope.
Folks, welcome to this week's In the Scope. I'm Rich, this is Jess. We're going to talk about a couple products again this week. Jess, tell us what you got there.
This week I'm going to talk about our game calls, game on game calls.
On game calls.
We have a full line of deer calls, anywhere from hands-free grunter. It's got a couple different settings, so you can go from a young buck to a mature buck. We got our doe bleat. We also have a green monster grunt call and the wood monster grunt call. We do anything from turkey calls to deer calls to
full line of calls.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a full line of calls, game on game calls. I got somebody coming in.
This
Excuse you.
is the limb shaver. Sorry to interrupt, but I got to show you. You can take any one of your saws. This is all it takes to mount it up. All fits in your fanny pack, backpack, whatever you need.
Put that on a limb?
It attaches to any limb you can find. Clear your shooting lanes early season. You don't have to take a whole saw with you. You just take your regular old cutting saw.
That must be another Walnut Grove product there.
It's a great one, and I love it.
Ingenious. Love it. Well, folks, that does it for this week's In the Scope. Check us out again next week.
You can find Walnut Grove at walnutgrovehunting.com, and you can find our game calls at outdoorinsightstv.com. Now, let's get back to Kentucky with Robby and Brady.
This turkey, he pops out in this opening, full strut, just doing his thing. So I start working him. That turkey decides he's coming in. I videoed this bird for over 4 minutes coming straight to the decoy.
Right there, 20-yard shot, perfect.
Turkey pops up. I give Brady the cue to pull the trigger. I hear click, like a slight click. I thought, oh my God. In the excitement, he forgot to load his gun. Come to find out, he had the safety pressed in, and that was just something rubbing against the gun when he tried to pull the trigger. He was so pumped up, he'd forgotten to take the safety off. So he recouped. I did another little call. Turkey calmed down, got him to stick his head up again, and Brady slammed the hammer shut.
Yeah.
What did I tell you?
That was awesome.
perfect textbook turkey hunt. Brady and I come down here last night and drove around. We've seen these turkeys here, and we just thought, this is, I told Brady yesterday, what I tell you, this is the place where we're going to kill him in.
Good spot right here.
We hooked up with Dusty. He was nice enough to let us come down here and hunt with him. What'd you think of that, Dusty? Was that pretty
awesome? That don't get no better than that.
It does. I thought it was going to let him get right in our lap.
I thought he was too. I was like, Rob's going to give me a 10-yard shot.
What
it was
happened?
close.
There's a little bit of hesitation there. What happened when I gave the kill signal?
You should always take the safety off.
That's
key.
Folks, everything happens so fast. We got here this morning, and these birds we just got out to this point, and they were gobbling as soon as we got here. So it was kind of a fast setup. Was able to watch the bird come all the way in. It's just beautiful, beautiful. That's a good representative of the Eastern Wild Turkey right there.
Now after Robby helped Brady get his bird, they went back out and tried to get one for himself and Dusty. Well, the plan almost worked out. The boys pulled in 2 great longbeards, but here's the problem. They were trying to pull a double, and they were sitting real close together. When they pulled the triggers, well, Robby and Dusty bumped into each other, and they're going to argue about who bumped who, but it turns out they both missed.
It took, what, 5 minutes max for these birds to come in? Perfect opportunity for a double. First day of Kentucky, and it just didn't work out. You'll have that in the big leagues, though. You can't kill all of them.
No, you can't get them all.
Don't go anywhere, because Nate Mitchell's deer hunt in the snow in Ohio is coming up, and you don't want to miss this buck.
Hunters, are you sick of dropping your gear from your tree stand, then having to climb back down to get it? Walnut Grove has solved an old problem with a new idea, the booger. You may be fooled by its looks, but you'll be amazed by its abilities. If you drop it, this little booger will get it. The Booger by Walnut Grove Hunting Products. Proudly made in the USA.
This is the last day of a 4-day hunt. We saw a giant here last night. Here we go. You on him? Wait, your blade's out. What? The blade popped off the dang horn again.
Make the switch to a mechanical broadhead you can count on. The True Fire Switchblade. Blades are easily reset. No O-rings. Guaranteed not to pre-open in flight.
Man, I'm making the switch.
The True Fire Switchblade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Tree Stand Buddy. Coming to a tree near you.
We were hunting in Ohio. It was the late season, mid-December. We'd bow hunted all year since opening day in September. So we'd had a lot of time on the ground, and we've hunted this property quite a bit. And Josh and his father had hunted it and seen a lot of good deer.
They own 50 acres. We got 3 food plots on it, and I know the property real good, like the back of my hand. Like I said, I grew up hunting it, and I was trying to get Nate Mitchell on a deer, and I know we had a few good ones running around down on the property.
We missed an opportunity for a really nice buck that ended up being killed on the neighbor's property.
It was a real nice buck. That's just an example of some of the deer we got running around up on the property.
It was Ohio's second gun season, so it was late December. I don't hunt with a shotgun, and I love to hunt with my muzzleloader, so I'll never miss a chance to take that baby out.
We're at the top of a hill. We've been driving this morning. It was really cold. It's 15 degrees. So Josh and his dad are out here with me this morning. Josh's dad is on the other side of this hill. We're gonna work our way back down. We're on opposite sides. We've seen deer here all year. Josh and I have been on this piece of property for 2 months, seen a lot of deer, a lot of big deer. We know they're here. We're gonna make our way slow. We got the sun coming up. I like what we got going on, so we ought to be in the right place at the right time, and I think it's good, so keep up.
Let's catch up with Wild Dale and Jim Ward with this week's Power Play Moment, brought to you by Booner Builder. Welcome to this week's Booner Builder Power Play Moment of the Week, here with Dale Denman. Wild Dale, one of the things that you do, and I've noticed, is when you're out there, the deer don't run away. They're not going anywhere. It's a term you've told me about called positive association.
Right.
We've got Jim Ward with us again this week, and you guys both know a little bit about positive association. Dale, explain to me what that means.
Positive association, when you go out there and you're actually improving their habitat, you're making enough noise, they know you're there,
So they move out of the way and they notice that you made the change, whether like Jim does, giving them a sweet treat or adding a little more mineral salts down along the edge, or actually, you know, with the Booner Builder, by enhancing the plants and giving that positive health association to the plants, which actually draws that deer's natural senses to it, okay, gives that positive association. So every time I would go check my trail cameras or go around the property checking the browse ruts, I would add in, and the deer get used to me coming and going to do that. Right. So they just basically move over and watch me.
Jim, you spend a lot of time figuring out properties. The deer got to know that you're the good guy. And how do you do that?
Well, I guess an example I would use is a lot of big deer are being killed in urban areas now. And so deer get associated with people and understand whether they're after them or not. Deer read body language. So, you know, exactly what Dale's saying here. I go along with the chainsaw, I'm making a lot of noise. They know I'm coming, but they know what that means when those trees are coming to the ground. So I'm out there being the positive guy. I'm leaving some apples or something all summer long so they can smell me hours later and still think that I'm the good guy around.
Well, if you talk to any farmer, he's going to tell you where the big bucks are, and that's because the big bucks aren't afraid of the farmers that work the land, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. We spend so much time out here spraying Booner Builder and adjusting our habitat for the deer that they're going to get used to us, and they're going to smell us, they're going to see us, and they're going to hear us.
Yep.
So when you give them something better to smell and taste, it can't be a bad thing for the deer.
No, they actually make the association and they understand what's going on until you change modes.
That's right.
And go into whacking them.
And that's about to happen. You know, we're getting here in August, and deer season is not that far in anywhere in the country. So you go from setting up your deer to putting your camouflage on and actually hunting those deer, and you smell the same no matter what.
Yeah.
And the deer are going to know that.
They know it.
So Jim's putting treats out. We've got minerals sometimes you can put out, and the deer know when you put corn out for them, or minerals, or sweet treats, or even when you're out there spraying your Booner Builder. Folks, that's going to do it for this week's Booner Builder Power Play Moment of the Week. We'll see you next time.
Really, there's no way to describe the temperature we had that morning, but cold.
It had been snowing weeks before that, and the snow was frozen to the ground. It was really cold, about 5 degrees that morning. And we decided to get on the ground and walk versus stay in a tree stand because there was no wind at all. And in my mind, the deer just weren't going to be moving. And so we decided to slow hunt this whole entire hill.
But don't get me wrong, I love hunting out of a tree stand, but there's nothing more that I like better than still hunt.
We decided to slow hunt this field area that we had invite food plots planted in, and this is the second year that we've had them in. And we bow hunted over those fields, and we'd seen good deer, just never a good opportunity to let an arrow fly.
We thought the best thing to do would be to walk around, but it took us 5 minutes to cover 20 yards. We got the 3 invite food plots up on the hill, and with the weather and at the end of the year, you know, the deer had them all eaten down and whatnot, but I knew there was still a good bit of deer in the area.
When we first saw the deer coming out of the woods, we couldn't tell if it was a doe or a buck, and if it was a buck, just how big it really was. But the body on him was really good looking.
Will Nate's late season ground hunt pay off? With a mature buck headed his way, I'd say things are about to get a little more interesting.
This is the Tree Stand Buddy, the easiest, safest way ever to hang your stand. With the receiver on the tree and the bracket on the stand, simply slide your stand into place. Attach the tree stand strap. You never carry your stand up the tree. Tree Stand Buddy works on virtually any hang-on stand. I put a receiver in every tree I hunt and take my stand with me.
It's that easy.
Learn more at treestandbuddy.com.
Extreme Sighting Solutions is new this season with the Terminator. We use the strongest CNC machine aircraft-grade aluminum available. We're bow hunters, and we know exactly what your equipment goes through each season. Our sights are durable, lightweight, and bright. Our pins are looking at 24 inches of some of the brightest fiber optic material on the market today, giving you the visibility you need to make those tough shots count, even in low light conditions. The new Terminator by Extreme Sighting Solutions just put one more advantage in your favor. Let Extreme Sights be the solution to all your sighting problems.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wild Dale's Booner Builder, the invisible food plot.
We're getting close to the end of the property, and we only had one more thicket to check. We was sneaking around the edge of it, you know, taking our good old time, and I spotted movement out of the corner of my eye about 80 yards away, and immediately I knew it was a deer, and I did see a rack on it, and that was about the only thing I seen, because I was getting the camera up, I was letting Nate know to get ready.
When we first picked up this deer coming through the woods, I couldn't tell how big of a deer he was, but I could tell he had a rack on him.
This buck, he just basically come out of the middle of this thicket, out of the middle of nowhere, and he was coming right at us. And I couldn't have scripted it any better.
As he moved in closer, he looked real mature and looked like a shooter to me. I was happy with the growth he had on his antlers, and that late in the year, there's no way I'm gonna let a nice mature buck pass. So we knew we had an opening, and we were waiting for him to just walk right into it. I had my rifle up, and Josh had the camera on him. He stopped without making a noise in our shooting lane, and I let him have it.
We're working this side hill, working towards an area that we've seen deer. We're standing here talking about next year's setup. Here comes this buck right down the hill. And that might have been him crashing. Doesn't get any better than that. Hunting the second gun season in Ohio right there, baby. Doesn't get any better than that.
When the smoke cleared, we could tell we put a hurting on him.
I seen the buck spin around, and he started heading right toward the pine trees. And I knew right then and there exactly where he was going.
We got blood right here. First sign of blood is a good sign. We got snow. Pretty sure I heard him crash. Might have went 150 yards. My blood is just now starting to pump because it's cold out here. Looks like this is last blood going across this fence line, so going across this fence and getting into some of these thick pines.
I know Nate put a good shot on this deer, and I knew exactly where he was headed. I could just tell Nate was getting a little worried because we covered a little bit of ground, more than I thought we would have had to cover to get to this deer. And sure enough, the deer kind of did a little loop whenever he was in the pines and ended up backtracking across his blood, and there he was.
Hey there, big dog.
Hey.
You want to take a look maybe 30 yards in front of you?
I don't see him.
Right behind that pine tree.
Pine.
See him laying there?
No.
Right here. The thin pine tree, the end one, furthest one this way. He's 10 yards behind it.
What?
You can't see him?
No.
You can't see him?
30 yards? Oh yeah, yeah.
See him?
Yeah, I see him. I see him right there. Right there, 30 yards, you're right. He's all piled up, baby.
Hey, give me some. Yes. Nice shot. Nice shot, Nate. Nice deer.
Center punched him. I think we've seen this deer on trail cameras before. He's got this one side that's a little funny. But when he was facing me, this is what I saw. He's thick at the base. What a great buck to take, especially late season muzzleloader like this, man. Whew! This makes my day right here. Oh yeah.
His one side was, underdeveloped, and I seen the amount of gray he had in his face, and I told Nate to, open up his mouth and check his teeth out, and I could tell this deer, he was definitely on a downhill slide.
We're sitting here talking about this deer, and Josh says, check his teeth. He's got to be on the downhill, which is why we figure he's got this one side that's a little odd. He's only got a couple teeth in there. You look at the bottom row, he's got no teeth on that bottom row, except for way back. This may have been his last year, especially with as hard as winter as we're having here in Ohio right now. With as early as it is, I mean, we'll have snow on the ground for another 3 months at this rate. What a great buck to take. So we got now the work begins. Let's get going.
It's a great deer to take. It's just a 5-point, but guess what? It's an old 5-point, definitely mature, and absolutely the right deer to take. Now don't forget to go to our friends from Invite's Facebook page, post I Want My Invite food plot on their wall, and the boys from Invite are going to pick a winner and send out a free food plot. That's it for this week's show. We'll see you right back here next time on Tree Stand Buddies Game On.
Tree Stand Buddies Game On has been brought to you by Tree Stand Buddy at treestandbuddy.com. Wild Dale's Booner Builder at boonerbuilder.com. Extreme Sighting Solutions at extremesights.com. High Country Archery at highcountryarchery.com. Invite Team Extreme Food Plots at invitefpf.com. Bush in a Bag at bushnabag.com. Truefire releases and broadheads at truefire.com. Kicks Industries at kicks-ind.com. Game On Game Calls at outdoorinsightstv.com. And Walnut Grove at walnutgrovehunting.com. Products have been provided by these fine sponsors. Tree Stand Buddies Game On has been an Outdoor Insights television production. Find us online at outdoorinsightstv.com or on Facebook and Twitter.
There's our driver.
Dear driver.
Yeah. Designated, get me out the house. You ain't doing anything. Come on up on the hill.
You hear that, Nate? We're doing it till we get it right.
You think it's enough? You cut it up and make it all right?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think that was awesome.